Days from now, another Star Wars movie being released this weekend. And we told you we'd have a special guest in studio, R2-D2. And should we say his master is here as well. That's Jason Cross.
Builder.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've been here before when we had another big release with Star Wars coming out. And it's so exciting when you can see these characters come to life. And that's exactly what you've done with the character of R2-D2.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm actually a member of a builders club. So around the world, there are people who build R2-D2s.
There's an R2-D2 builders.
Believe it or not, there are hundreds of members.
Really?
Yeah, hundreds of members. Not hundreds have completed an R2, but a lot of people start. It's worldwide, and it's just a whole community of people who help design and customize and build these droids.
And how many of them get as detailed as you do? Because look at this, we have noises, we have spinning, we have specific lights. How accurate to detail for someone who's not maybe as knowledgeable about Star Wars?
I actually get asked that quite a bit. You know, is this the right size?
Right.
He looks bigger or he looks smaller. That is scale. It's within like a millimeter. I mean, they're very precise. The plans that people in the club use actually came from measuring the original droids.
The original one?
Yeah, they got access to George Lucas's droids, and they took crazy amount of measurements.
Now, is every piece on here, is it all a custom piece that you designed for this, or are there some pieces on there that you could find elsewhere?
Everything anymore is pretty much custom. The little, they call them holo projectors, the things on his head that move.
Yeah.
Those,
right there, okay.
Those are actually based on a type of lamp that was available in Britain like in the 60s. But other than that, and those are quite valuable now. People in the club, if they can find an original, they're just like, oh, gotta buy that. But now they're replicas.
Well, you kind of have to think back when this movie was being created. They kind of went to a prop master and said, create me a character.
Well,
so they were kind of doing
exactly,
the thing
and no one knew it was going to be a hit.
Right.
They thought it was just going to be some
And originally they had a person
sci-fi.
inside there, didn't they?
They did, actually. Kenny Baker, who passed away this year, was actually inside the original R2. So he would be in there, and behind those little projectors, they actually had little sticks, and he would move them around.
Really?
That's how they would
And you don't have anybody in yours this morning. Yours is completely
I don't. It's heavy enough that it feels like there's a person in there, but no.
Now, when you first start thinking about building this,
That's
obviously
amazing.
you're a fan, and you said, okay, I want to build one of these. How long did it take you to finally
It took me
construct it?
2.5 years.
Oh my goodness.
I was at a Comic-Con in Kansas City, and there was a panel. We had some time to kill, and there was a panel that was built about building droids. And so a friend of mine and I went in there and watched it, and they're like, yeah, we build these droids. There's a club. And I'm like, well, that sounds really fun. And I had just built like a little robotics project for fun in my basement before that. And I was like, you know, that would be nice because there are people to help, you know, community. And then after that, the job was convincing the wife. That
Of course.
And she's like, you know, it's good. It sounds like a good thing. So went in on it, bought my first, you know, parts for the dome.
As I say, is there a starter kit?
You know, there's not any one way to do it. So like there's a guy who makes like plastic dome forms that you have to then finish yourself, or they'll do metal ones. I have a metal one I'm working on. There's a guy in Texas who does certain details, a guy in Australia who's made certain details, and it's just like everyone kind of comes together and does these run of parts. And eventually you figure out how to put yours together. You know, the internals are different for everyone. I worked all the internals out.
I was going to say, what's your background? Because I don't know if anyone could just step up and start doing
You know,
this.
my background, I have a software and web design company. And so we build software applications, website applications for insurance, internet providers. So it's just kind of techie background, and
it's paying off in something like this.
As I say, but also a love of a great movie and just putting together a classic character. So with the big movie release that's coming up, are you going to be out and about with R2-D2?
Yes, we're actually going to be at Flicks at Merle Hay Mall tomorrow night.
Okay.
We will be there from probably about 5:30 and on through the evening.
All
So
right.
people should stop by. And
Does
say
it
hi.
make you feel good when people are like, oh, can I get a picture?
Oh, I love it. You know, I spent so long creating this thing that now that it's never finished, but now that at least it's complete as it sits now, having people react and go, oh, it looks just like the real one, it's really gratifying.
That's very gratifying.
And I love
isn't
that you say it's never really finished.
Oh
Like,
no,
you're constantly
I already have
working.
plans for things that'll pop out of the dome and look around.
it? Wow. Now, let's go to get to the bottom line here. To put something together, maybe somebody sees this morning. You're saying, you know what, I want to build one of these. What kind of cost is involved in putting together that type of creation?
If they're very good at manufacturing their own parts and they're doing it more out of like plastic and wood, you know, they can do it probably, you know, in the low 4 digits. If you go all the way, I mean, there are people who've spent 20,000+. I am not that high on mine, but there are people who have everything where it's complete metal and electronic.
Well, we absolutely love it every time you come to our studio, and thank you so much. And hopefully next year, when another Star Wars movie is coming out, we can see you
Oh,
again.
we'd love to.
Come back and do another lap around the desk.
All right,
There you go.
R2-D2, can you tell everybody we'll be right back? Close enough.
What he said. This is CW Iowa Live in West Des Moines.